Man, we live in the building. All right, same thing. Here. Bluetooth on point. Yep, Bluetooth's on point now, and we good. Crazy topic, man. I always have to deal with these old dudes. With the old dudes always talking that talking. The old guys. We got to talk about these old guys. Yeah, man. It's funny that I always hear these guys complaining about the older generation. And like I want to see like mainly like what's the problem? Like what's the real reason? Let's go ahead and get to the real, as the people say, the meat and potatoes. Because when it go down, like what's the real reason you mad? What is the real reason that the young kids get mad at the old guys? And it's because that lack of knowledge. They're always complaining about how the old guys don't teach them nothing. You know, my granddad never taught me this. My uncle never taught me this. Bruh, in the end, you gotta understand that's all they know. How you gonna teach me how to make a gourmet meal when you can't even make hot dogs? And hot dogs are just boiling water. And a lot of people don't know when you boil hot dogs in the water, you're not supposed to let the hot dog sit in the water because the hot dog will absorb the water, and that's why the hot dogs look swole. Ha! Gave a tip for you little young heads. And for you little old heads that don't know how to cook hot dogs too. You know what I'm saying? Put it on the grill is easy. Hitting it with the Cajun and burning the hell out of it. That's one thing. But like I'm saying, figure out what you're gonna do and know what you're gonna do. And to the extent, like I'm saying, man, get your stuff together, man. That's what we dealing with all this. Like young guys don't want to learn nothing. They think they got the money and the power, and they want to tell these old guys, you know, get the heck on. They don't know what they talking about. And it kills me, man. What are we doing in this space? Like what are we trying to promote? Because all you young boys, y'all don't know nothing, man. And in sight of you not knowing nothing, you know, just come for the noise. Y'all want to come to challenge the old heads. I mean, not shite the BGS. I'm cool with BGS. BGS be on point with it. But it kills me how all you young dudes want to come up there and run up on BGS to test them. And it's funny. I'm like, what's up with this old guy and the young guy beef? You know, you pick up a book, you learn a little something. Now you a philosopher, you an activist. You want to come out here and you want to tell people that they don't know what they're talking about. What's up, Gold P? Gold Professor in the building, man. I'm gonna be over there. I got about 8 minutes for you. I say I'll shut this down to go over there to your channel, Gold Professor. I'm just doing little quick little videos in the morning. But yeah, man. I don't know what's going on with these young guys. Had a talk with a guy yesterday, and it was a situation between his uncle never taught him nothing, and the most he ever talked about was his uncle being there for him. Like his uncle pretty much was married to auntie and everything, had kids, several kids outside of the auntie, and wasn't taking care of them. But he want to tell his nephew to, hey man, you want to be a good father, you want to be a good man. Hey, he made mistakes. He probably trying to help you. Hey man, don't be like me. Don't be out here having all these kids. Be a man. But the nephew's looking at him like, you was never a good father. I got a cousin that I deal with. You know, he's um he's reaping the benefits in what you gave him, and that's nothing. So he's looking like, man, how you gonna tell me to be a good man and you ain't a good man? How you gonna teach me how to fish and you never went fishing? And that's what a lot of these young guys is dealing with. And like my whole theory is this, I always throw this out here, it can be proven, but to me it's a theory because, you know, I've used it. I don't know too many other people have done it where it's to the point where you want to, seek the counsel of at least 10 elders, in my opinion. You know, this one guy, that's all he talked about was his uncle. Now, if he said, man, my uncle, my granddad, another uncle, I got an issue with, an old guy in my family. Oh, I mean, an old guy that was in the neighborhood, an old guy that knew from school. Because to be honest, man, one of my favorite teachers, I never forget this old guy. He was a substitute teacher, Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry would always come at. Mr. Henry was like the best substitute teacher. On scammers, yeah. So Mr. Henry was one of the best teachers, man, because Mr. Henry always came in there. He talked to the kids, respectfully, and kind of taught us lessons every time. We was in the hood. I'm talking about. Shout out to Randolph Elementary on the west side of Atlanta. You know, And the craziest part, man, that school was in a nice area, but it had some rough apartments that went to the school. So basically, man, good. I'm talking about great teacher, man. The dude always hit us over the head with knowledge. I remember, he told us one time that he got into it with some cats, and he was into during the time, and there was a lot of racism, doing civil rights and stuff. So he was riding in his car, and whole bunch of white boys tried to jump out on him. You know, say really didn't have no gun, but he had a metal pole, and he always kept that metal pole in his hand when he knew something was gonna get rough, and it's about the same length from the elbow to the wrist, so you would never see the bend in there if he had a long sleeve on. And so he said, dudes ran up, about 8 of them, they all out there, none in their hand. They on the back of a pickup truck and pulled them over. So he jumped out, put his hands in there, and the guys were like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna beat your butt, this and that." Nah, this racist stuff. He said he dropped that pole down into their hand, you know, let it grip, started swinging. He said guys went to moving, you know what I'm saying, just bouncing out of the way because they ain't want to get hit. And he was like, at that point, a lot of guys, they well, pretty much the moral of the story was, he was telling us about protecting yourself and knowing that the stuff is out here as far as racism, and it's nothing you could do about it, but it's ways to maneuver around it in short term. And he would always give us little stories and tell us, he's like, these are the ways that maneuver in life. He's like, I know you might have a down situation where you live, but he said you can always rise up by educating yourself, doing things a little better. Because he was in the military. He explained that to us. He's like, I don't have to teach. I teach to give back. That's my thing. I teach to give back. And a lot of guys, they kind of took that, and ran with it. Was like, man, dang, so this dude really don't have to work. Drove a nice car and everything, man. Because we was in the process back then, was looking at cars. That's all I'm gonna say. And the crazy part is, man, a lot of the young dudes, like I said, they pick up a book and learn a little bit. They think they know everything. You know, there's unless you've made, I want to say $1 trillion, unless you became a astronaut and a brain surgeon, you know, being somewhat of a mathematician too, being in the engineer field of being an engineer or something, to where you almost at the top of your league. You graduated from an Ivy League school, you know, top of your class. You don't know everything, you know. And I say that too with old guys. There's a lot of old guys that don't know everything. There's some young people teaching. Oh, My 3-year old, one of my 3-year old twins taught my uncle, I mean, not my uncle, my brother, one of my older brothers, how to do something with his phone and his camera. And, went to videos and was, trying to get my brother to do a video on his phone. He wouldn't do it. So he actually grabbed the phone from my brother, you know, showed my brother how to do it. And my brother was like, dang, my little nephew teaching me something. I ain't know my phone could do that. I ain't know I could do this. And it's to the extent where this 3-year old is teaching this 40-some-year-old man how to, work his phone. I and vice versa. He teach them. My boys be around him, and he always, pumping his fist, like pumping his fist together, and he be telling them, "You got to man up." You know, tell them little small nippets of life lessons to, man up. Hey, don't cry about this. Hey, boy, this is what's going on in life. You got to deal with it. Hey, you got to take this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the roughness of him. You know, pretty smart. Brother's pretty smart. He could draw real well, good with his hands. But anything over there a little bit much, it exceeds his knowledge. But he was in the streets. He know how to survive. He know how to use his hands to fight. You know, he was good with that. Him and my older cousin. That's all they did. Threw them hands all the time. But the whole point of it was, they learned little things to where they can, apply to people. Some old guy showed him, how to stick and move. And then he perfected it when they got into karate and they knew how to stick, move, and kick. Or, you know, jab stick, whatever, to hit a combo. But the whole thing is they was an approach of learning. And a lot of guys got to take that in and know, man, this old guy, this young guy, this beef, this turf, this I know more than you. You can't teach me nothing. You know, some old people can only teach you what they know. And that's what a lot of people keep getting the situation messed up. Like the old guys don't want to teach you nothing because they don't know nothing. And the ones that do know, who's out there seeking the knowledge of them? You know, you get one old guy give you some bad advice, you shame all old people for giving bad advice. Come on now. It don't work like that. In the words of Gold Professor, do something. And what I'm about to do now is shoot over there to Gold Professor channel. So I'll holler at y'all later.